Breaking. Warner Brothers Games is shutting down Monolith Productions, Player First Games, and Warner Brothers San Diego, sources tell Bloomberg News. This is one company that has been run, in my opinion, from the strangest perspective that I've ever seen. Having access to a lot of these properties doesn't guarantee success, apparently. I mean, yes, Marvel plays, stupid games. Sometimes it wins some stupid prizes depending on the race they're running. However, what Warner Brothers have done with DC, in my opinion, is quite shocking. What they've also done in their interactive entertainment arm is also very shocking at the end of the day. Having what I think is probably one of the most iconic set of, IPs and characters and not being able to convert is a very strange phenomenon. Welcome to the Video and Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. Sadly, I have a lot of what I think is, regrets or at least perception of this possibility happening. Because as somebody who started the Video and Fight School channel to cover the new Batman game at the time, which later eventually became Gotham Knights, I can tell you that from my perspective, this particular company, in terms of their IPs, have been super weird. I'll show you a few things in this video. I'm not going to waste too much of your time. Warrior64 goes ahead and writes that, or shows this Jason Schreier post on Blue Sky, that Warner Brothers Games is shutting down Monolith Productions, Player First Games, and so on and so forth. And Warner Brothers, they confirmed it. They've canceled a game that they unveiled in 2019, and they basically have shut down the studio. But many people don't really realize that there's something very interesting about this studio on their last game that they put out, Middle-earth: Shadow of War. A lot of people like Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor, but Middle-earth: Shadow of War was a very controversial game. It highlights exactly when the problem was injected into a lot of their studios. Let me explain. This game came out as a single-player game with microtransactions. It was developed as a grind fest where you sat there and played and played and played and played, and you were somewhat almost forced to go in and buy what they called time savers at the time. Look at this article here from Vice. The developers are coming out and saying, yeah, we admit, this is in 2018, after they eventually reverted and took the microtransactions out of their single-player game. They said, well, the microtransactions undermined the heart of our game. Another thing many of you may or may not know is at the time, in 2016 or so, right after Rocksteady had launched Arkham Knight, an executive, David Haddad, came in. This person came in from like the retail and supply chain side, and he ran the, interactive entertainment arm of things. And it is quoted, there's a quote somewhere, that he wanted to follow Ubisoft's footsteps and move Warner Brothers Games to a much more games as a service model. Which other single player game does Ubisoft put microtransactions in? Assassin's Creed. I will not be surprised that he probably mandated some kind of an economy, or at least under his leadership it was suggested and it was greenlit to push that game. Guess which other games came out under his watch, and this is in the superhero side. We can look at Mortal Kombat, Injustice, and all those other games as their own little thing. Yes, Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. He recently has just left. When the merger was done, his job was one of the jobs that was actually kept intact at the end of the day. But I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that there was already a challenge with this particular company to be able to get its own footing right. And so now they're in a very interesting position. Which direction are they going to go? They finally taken Rocksteady and they want to go back and revert to some sensibility in terms of their own video games that they've actually made before. I see some people, running and touting the news. I remember when that thing came to light. Some people were like, oh yeah, Warner Brothers is looking towards going live service. Rocksteady is making this Batman game, and rumors say it's going to be a PlayStation exclusive. They're gonna do that. They're in a position to do that, to make a Hail Mary Batman game after they had spent 8 years from Arkham Knight to Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, and then after having made the game, right, they're going to make it exclusive when another game that they made multiplat, is a banger and a smash hit. 25 million copies, Hogwarts Legacy. You see, here's how you're going to be able to expose anybody that is talking nonsense in the gaming industry. Just look at numbers. That's all you got to do. Just look at the numbers. Look at the numbers for a game. If Arkham Knight was a console exclusive with PlayStation, the game would have been DOA. Its PC launch was bogus. Probably didn't sell well at launch. Its best sales, I could almost guess, would probably have been years later, or at least a year later, after the game had been cleaned up and then put back on Steam, because the game got delisted from Steam according to reports. So again, there have been all kinds of different challenges going on, and the fact that they insisted that their studios make these IPs put unnecessary pressure on them. Marvel, on the other hand, is eating good. Eating good. They're giving their games to other studios, even with the expensive licenses that they're getting. These studios are running after them, EA and Sony and PlayStation. But DC decided it was going to keep its in-house, but they have no pulse on the gaming industry. Even with the pulse on the gaming industry, PlayStation still had to basically spend $314 million in development, had to try to lay off some developers for Marvel Spider-Man 2 to basically become something, and then immediately abandon its 2 years of waiting for exclusivity to go to PC nonsense and drop the game on PC. The gaming industry is not even having any of it anymore. So we're in a very, very interesting, delicate time in the industry. And I want to ensure that anybody who's looking at this understands that at any moment, the flashpoint can literally be triggered within their own little favorite bubble that they're doing over there. The massive market correction from the COVID-19 boom, said X1 the gamer. Right? All kinds of crazy stuff. This person said layoffs are now they're not slowing down in gaming. In this market, anybody who open their mouth and say exclusivity, you'd be laughed out of the room. Watch and see. They may go with Sony for exclusivity, but these conditions are not conducive for that. Just letting y'all know. Talk to them in the comment section. Appreciate y'all so much. Peace out.